Friends, good morning. We are meeting at a time when world is facing crisis after crisis. It started with COVID, which was said to be man-made epidemic. Then came the wars and murder or death of various VIPs, and international turmoil in the name of United Nations, which is supposed to be the troubleshooter or peacemaker of the world, issuing warrants for arrest of heads of certain states. Why such a state? Why such turmoils? The important point to understand is that this world, though made by God, and God is present in everything in one form or the other, actually is managed by human beings who have been created in the image of God but have the freedom, unlike animals, plants, etc., to whatever the individual or group or collective feels like doing. This is the source of trouble in the world, not today, but from beginning of civilizations. Wars in one form or the other, whether it was the tribal wars or whether it was the national wars or whether it was the local wars or global wars, all have been fought by human beings against human beings for a cause which was supposed to be for the good of human beings. This is a paradox, a dichotomy. One side you want people to die, second side you encourage uncontrolled birth rate for whatever political or religious reasons, and third side you say you are doing for the good of human beings. How can three things come together to make a happy, peaceful existence where every living, not only human beings, but even plants, vegetables, animals, all feel happy to live? Indian philosophy, which is supposed to be the most ancient, says there was a time in the history of mankind, which repeated many times in the name of Chaturayugis, that in the period of Satyuga, which was a period, say roughly 35 to 40,000 years back from now, human beings could talk to plants, could talk to animals, they could listen to each other and understand each other. The living was so peaceful that they understood each other's requirements and conveyed to each other what was needed and not needed. And for the peace and survival of all livings, sacrificed themselves in the name that one animal offered to another animal on his or her own, because the other animal is a carnivore or eats flesh, while the one who is being eaten, or maybe another one, is a herbivorous or eats vegetables. Same way for vegetables. Every vegetable, plant, fruit understood that they have a purpose to satisfy the needs of the other livings, and never felt sad when time came to do that. But it was not done for the pleasure which is being done today. Today it is the ego satisfaction. The most of the people who initiated war or who got involved in war and encouraged war are the ones who have gone beyond their own birthplace and killed others and ruled over them. With this mentality, with this genetic code, with these sanskaras or their background, these people are now wanting to make the world a peaceful place, while they have fought already 2 world wars in this period called Kali Yuga, or in the last few hundred years. Right? So question which is coming is, how can world become peaceful without human beings understanding what is peace, what is requirement of peaceful existence, and what needs to be done to achieve that harmony which allows peaceful existence. Our understanding is this requires creating or developing human beings with good positive mindsets. The human beings who respect others' way of life and help others to live, but do not fear or do not kill others for own pleasure or ego satisfaction. How to create such human beings is another factor. From beginning of the history, child when born started learning from the family, from the environment, even the animals and plants. There are stories of children who were left alone in jungles and they learned from plants and animals and became the great human beings. Every child starts learning ever since incepted, even in the womb. There are stories which confirm that a fetus learns when the brain becomes active after about 12 to 14 weeks after the inception or conception. Fetus starts learning. That builds the genetic code of the fetus, and when born, the family, the parents, the environment, the friends, all around, they start building. Therefore, the one method of creating human beings is learning and teaching, which actually is the subject of education. But today, education has become the vertical, where one becomes scientist, second becomes engineer, third becomes doctor, fourth becomes a politician, fifth becomes an administrator. But they all are vertical and they all have walls. These walls create problems. These walls interact, cause conflicts, unless right values are created. Therefore, question comes, how to create good human beings. Before we can do that, we need to understand a human being and the creation around us. To me, as we understand from literature available philosophically and scientifically, existence has 4 levels: physical, subtle, causal, and supercausal. Physical is what we can sense through the senses: feel, touch, smell, see, etc. Subtle is the one like a code in a program in a computer which drives the physical, which gives qualities to the physical, which gives the capabilities to work or perform. Causal is the greater part, which is ego. Ego, even matter has it. Ego, even plants have it. Ego, even animals have it. Ego, even, and human beings in any case are the most evolved ego form. Ego was given by God Almighty for obtaining the physical existence and dimensions of existence. Therefore, ahankar or ego allows a body to become body in the existence. It was not meant to fight each other, etc., but it evolved in human beings. In nature, before we go to nature, let us understand the 4th one, the supercausal or mahakaran, which actually includes an element of God Creator in the name of soul, which is a reflection of God Creator complete, and Prakriti or nature, and God Himself. These three are the major elements of this supercausal. And this Prakriti, which is basically the reflection of the power of Creator, or desire of Creator in the universe or creation, sits inside the human being and imparts qualities like tamasic, rasic, sattvic, or passive, active, and balanced. Makes three types of human beings. Science has now started seeing it in the name of intelligent quotient, emotional quotient, spiritual quotient, etc. But these are all gifts of these four bodies: the physical, subtle, causal, and supercausal. Therefore, if we want to create human beings who will be good for the existence, we need to understand the existence and structure of human being. And since existence has four levels, human beings also have four levels of bodies. Physical body, which gives us identity, which makes it to be identified as an individual by a certain name, a face, etc. Subtle, which is the mind mainly, and subtle senses, which makes the body perform and imparts capability for learning, understanding, and analyzing. The causal, which gives the ego, consciousness, and subtle life force, and supercausal, the God Almighty, who sits as God in the heart here, in the brain here, or on the sahasrara, or the crown of the head, soul, which sits in the heart, and the Prakriti or nature, which sits in the sacrum bowl. Therefore, all three, the nature, the reflection of God, and God Himself, are present inside the human being. And need is to understand these to create good human beings. Because the learning process is modulated by the nature of a human being, and nature is granted by these three elements. And if we understand these and create processes, these can help us in creating good human beings. Modern education is creating people who are competing with each other, hardly thinking of competing, cooperating, or collectively cooperating. But existence requires cooperation and not competition. Unfortunately, competition comes when survival is at stake. One has to go beyond the other. If there is sufficient space for everyone to live and breathe, there is no need of competition, it is just cooperation on that. This is the aspect of education which is being missed. India had various schools of thought, gurukuls, used to make human beings which were complete. They knew economics, they knew social science, they knew science, they knew mathematics, they knew astrology, they knew medicine, and they knew politics. They knew everything which required a human being to live and work in a society. That was the type of syllabus, and that was the type of education. Today, the syllabus is given, it is so vertical that one expert does not really know fully about the other expert, and hence thinks I can do everything. Therefore, scientist thinks I will do everything, engineer thinks another way, doctors thinks third way, politicians thinks fourth way, social scientist thinks another way, and etc. etc. As a result, there is conflict and there is no cooperation, while unfortunately the truth is all are branches or parts or leaves of the same tree called existence or life. Some scientists had created the tree of life, where they show how from cell livings have grown to the Homo sapiens and modern human beings. Same is true for everything in existence. Whether it is religion, whether it is politics, whether it is all other branches, all are integrated. They all are created for managing survival, for ensuring survival, for making world livable and hence good human beings. But unfortunately, this point is being missed and this needs to be looked into. Why it is missing? Existence has two major aspects. First is the physical existence, second is the invisible, which is the aspect of spiritual education. Spiritual education is being missed totally. There is hardly any element of it is taught in the name of Bible or in terms of Gita or in terms of Quran or something else, right? Or Hurriyat or whatever it is, the other parts. Moses created one. All these great gurus who came from time to time in the world in the last few thousand years, they all try to correct the aberrations in the society of that day and gave formulas which were true or okay for that. But they may not be true today. Therefore, need is to evolve a new philosophy, a new approach, a new social, political, spiritual awakening among the people, how to make world survive out of this nuclear holocaust which is all around us. How to make the world survive in the conflict of egos of the leaders which is all over the world. Right? This one aspect which was being taught in some institutions, probably initiated by IITs in India, was value system. Unfortunately, values also became the books. Moral education also became books. Nobody tries to understand that values have very deep meaning. Values mean something of importance, but it depends on the nature of the human being. What is important for a saint may not be important for a dacoit. What is valuable for a saint may not be valuable for a leader, may not be valuable for a doctor, philosopher, and all others. Therefore, values have labels which need to be understood before value education can be imparted. First values are those which come with you from birth, with your genetic code, what in India is known as sanskars. These values are inbuilt. They are core values and they generally live with you. But these values are ones which drive you to learn further. Unfortunate aspect is that values are in a divine person also and values are in a devil or evil person also. Both values are different. If we have to create good human beings, we need to understand the difference between the good and evil and find ways of converting evil into good. That's the first and important lesson. The second part is the values which human being acquires after coming into this world. That is by interacting people, by interacting what parents do, what society does, what values they give, and they become their acquired values, which they learn from the environment and by living on that. These also mostly driven by the nature of the person and nature of the environment and nature of the group and nature of the people. The third values are ones which are taught in gurukuls, madrasas, schools, colleges, etc., etc. These values are learned values. These values are academically taught, said what is good, what is not good, what is bad, what is not bad. Again, these are dependent on who is teaching to whom and who is learning from whom. Therefore, understanding the teacher and the student and the environment before the values can be taught is very, very critical. The fourth values which are most dangerous are the pseudo values. the values which are exhibited by people to succeed, to win a point, or to please those who are influential around us. For example, a person works in an organization, and let's say, like the modern institutions, the private institution owner wants that you pass everybody, whether exam given or not given. What does a teacher do? Teacher tries to please the owner and passes everybody, gives attendance to everybody who have never come, and shows I had done a very great job. These are pseudo values. Internally, teacher may not be liking all this. Internally, teacher may not be happy with all this, but still doing it to please someone who is the resource provider. Same can be true with the owner also. Owner also may not be liking it, may not be agreeing with it, but the demand of the society, the people who want degree without studying, who want favors for marks, etc., without being there. If institutions have to be run, the people have to join, students have to pay, parents have to contribute, then only run. So owner also is sometimes helpless. Question is, where is the society? These things are the ones which are spoiling today's environment, education, and everything else around us. Therefore, if we want to create a world in which human beings can live happily, we need to create human beings who think of others, who feel that my hunger and others' hunger is not different, my need and others' need is not different. As I feel a need, they also feel a need. And if the resources are limited, we need to share and not snatch, not rob. Today's society has reached a stage the marketing tools are creating artificial demands and desires, making people want things which are not needed. As a result, nature is being exploited, environmental imbalance is taking place, and resultant wars, which are in the name of commercialization, basically selling weapons, basically selling goods, basically enhancing their own influence, not realizing nobody is born forever, nobody is immortal. Every human being dies, but this ego drives a person to think that he or she is immortal, or this race and that race only is immortal, rest all will die. Friends, everybody who is born will die. Friends, everything which is created will vanish unless nurtured by good values and good education and good teaching and learning on that. Therefore, the need today is to create an environment, to create a society, to create a system which supports survival by all means, whether it is health, whether it is agriculture, whether it is education, whether it is politics, social science, etc., etc. It should not be for ego satisfaction or fee, it should be for the survival of and happiness for the large humanity. God bless all. I hope people will understand, think, and it only human beings can do. Leaders will not change easily unless human beings do. There may be a need for revolutions, there may be a need for public movements, but unless these are created, these are realized, these are led by the people who understand nature, who understand survival, who understand human beings, who understand values, this will be difficult, and this is the need of the hour. We need to understand what is a human being, what is nature, what God has created human beings for, what is everybody's requirement, and manage survival in a happy and good for all way. Thank God. Thank you all very much. God bless you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.